last year, Miami wasted the greatest quarterback to ever put on the Hurricanes jersey, that being Cam Ward. In his lone season with the program, he shattered all of Miami's single-season passing records. He was a Heisman finalist, and Miami had nothing to show for how good of a quarterback Cam Ward was, but making it to the Pop-Tart Bowl and missing out on the opportunity to be in the 12-team college football playoffs its first year in existence. And a large reason why Miami wasted the generational talents of Cam Ward was because of how god-awful the defense was. The defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. They sucked against the run. The secondary was burnt toast. They were getting cooked every single play. I mean, Kyle McCord was just absolutely embarrassing Miami secondary. At halftime, I felt like the defensive coordinator should have got the boot. It took Mario Cristobal too long to kick Lance Guidry to the curb. When you have a defense that bad and you're struggling to win games against teams like Cal and Virginia Tech, you got problems, and you shouldn't wait to get rid of them. But this offseason, at least after the early winter portal cycle, Mario Cristobal has completely overhauled and retooled this defense. The defensive line wasn't that bad. You know, it was pretty good at times. It probably was the strength of this unit. But outside of the D line, the linebackers weren't good, but the secondary was god-awful. Miami might have had the worst secondary in all of college football last year. Outside of that true freshman stud they had at corner, they had nobody else that was good. And in this portal cycle, Mario Cristobal went out and landed 4 of the top 20 best cornerbacks out of the portal. You have Xavier Lucas, who transfers from Wisconsin in a very controversial fashion, but he was the second ranked quarterback in the portal from this cycle. Last year, he had 2 pass breakups and an interception. And what I like about Xavier Lucas the most is that not only does he have great size, but he's only a sophomore this year. So he has a few more years left before he can declare for the NFL draft. So that's a positive for Miami. You're going to get somebody that isn't just here for 1 year. He's going to be able to give you elite, high-level cornerback play for at least 2 seasons. And he's not the only underclassman that Miami acquired via the portal. You also have Emmanuel Canarley from Arizona. He was the 8th ranked cornerback from this portal cycle. He had 5 pass deflections. He also is able to play, a little bit in the slot as well. Now, my favorite addition that Miami made in the portal when it came to the secondary was Michigan State cornerback Charles Brantley. So he was the 11th ranked cornerback in the portal. He had 3 interceptions, 7 pass deflections. He was one of the best cornerbacks in the Big Ten, in my opinion, in 2024. So for Miami to get him was a huge steal. Now, he doesn't have the youth that Xavier Lucas and Emmanuel Carnley have, but, you got 3, 4, maybe 5 quality corners. So you have good depth, and you also have good quality starters as well. So, I mean, for Miami to go as hard as what they have in the portal and to have a secondary this good is nothing short of outstanding. If this defense isn't at least a top 20 or a top 15 unit, then Miami might have to fire their new defensive coordinator, who is Corey Heatherman. Now, Corey Heatherman, he comes from Minnesota, and the Gophers had a great defense last year under Corey Heatherman. They were 10th in points per game allowed. They were 6th in yards per game allowed. They had a really good run defense. They were top 25 against the run. And they also were 11th in passing yards per game allowed. And, the improvement when it comes to the pass defense is what has me so excited about this hiring of Corey Heatherman. Because, listen, it's a passing game now. If you can't stop the pass, then you pretty much have no chance to win. If a team can run the ball against you for about 200-300 yards, cool. But, I'd rather a team be able to run it on me than a team be able to just throw it at will against me, because if you can throw it at will, then that means you can probably put 30, 40 points up on my defense. If you can run it at will, yeah, you may go for 200, 300 yards, but you're going to take a lot of time off the clock, and you're not going to be able to score as many points if my offense is at least halfway competent. So with Corey Heatherman now, pairing him up with Shannon Dawson, Miami quietly has one of the better coaching staffs in college football when you just look at their two coordinators. And what Corey Heatherman is going to do to this defense is that he's not just going to improve the overall play of it, but he's also going to make this a defense that can actually be trusted to win games. This isn't going to be a year where Miami fans have to cross their fingers and pray to God that the offense gets the ball last, because they know if it's the defense that's on the field last and they have to step up and get the win, they're not going to come through. But this season, though, you actually have a defense that you can trust. And with how well Mario Cristobal has recruited on the line of scrimmage, when it comes to the defensive line, the linebackers, now that you improve the defensive back room, I think Miami now has a complete defense. Wouldn't y'all agree? I mean, there should be at least 2-3 guys on that defensive line that step up and have really good seasons getting after the quarterback. And the linebacker play should improve as well. Just when you have a new defensive coordinator, I don't think that it was all the players' fault why the defense was bad. Yeah, you can say that some guys aren't good enough to be playing out of school like Miami, or at least starting. But when you have a good coach, he can put your players that may not be as talented in the best position to get the most out of them. And he can do a better job at finding roles for their skill set than somebody like Lance Guidry, who, even if you do give him a halfway good defense, he doesn't know how to put all of these talented players in positions to make plays. And that's what Miami's new defensive coordinator is going to do a better job of compared to Lance Guidry. Corey Heatherman is going to do a way better job of maximizing all of the talented players that Miami gets out of recruiting in high school. And Lance Guidry, he was a really likable guy, but he just didn't really know how to get the most out of the personnel. When you have a guy that's such an elite recruiter like Mario Cristobal is, it's no excuse why your defense should look that bad. The better the coach, the more they can do with less. And Corey Heatherman, at a school like Minnesota that doesn't have the players on defense anywhere as good as what Miami does, all he needs is the talent for him to have one of the best defenses in college football. For Minnesota defensively to be as good as what they were last year under Heatherman, in spite of not having all of these 4- and 5-star blue chips that Miami has stacked across the roster, is really impressive, because good coaches do more with less. Coaches, especially coordinators, are like chess players. Everybody has the same pieces. Everybody has the same 11 guys, per se, but not everybody has the same access to the same level of talent that every other coach does. A guy like Corey Heatherman, who is able to do more compared to Lance Guidry, who did less with more, shows you why this is going to be a great hiring and why Miami's defense is going to be so vastly improved this year than what it was last season. And if Miami's offense, it doesn't need to be as good as what it was with Cam Ward, but if it can at least be 80% of what it was with Cam Ward at the helm at QB, then, with an improved defense and competent quarterback play out of Carson back, as long as Mario Cristobal doesn't fuck up anything with his awful clock management and having Miami playing down to teams they're favored to beat, Miami definitely should be in an ACC championship or the college football playoffs at the worst. I'm not going to say Miami needs to win the ACC title, but they at least need to make it to the playoffs, because with the playoffs expanding to 12 teams, with how easy it is to recruit at Miami, and for as much goodwill that Mario Cristobal has built as the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes over these last couple of years, we got to start seeing some big time results. Miami is not a program that has been built upon playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl. When you think of the U, when you think of Miami Hurricanes football, you think of Ray Lewis, Sean Taylor, Andre Johnson, Jimmy Johnson, national championships, playing in the big games. Having an improved defense is going to help Mario Cristobal get one step closer to his goal of being able to revive Miami football. So I'm really excited about the overhaul that Mario Cristobal has done to this defense, improving the secondary, bringing in a new defensive coordinator. I think a lot of these moves are going to work out perfectly for the Hurricanes, and we should see an improved defense as a result of that.